Hi everyone, I'm Ian Cummins. I'm the co-pastor at Montview Boulevard Presbyterian Church here in Denver, and this is episode 2 of Reflections from the Hermitage. Since we're all spending more time at home these days, I thought it would be helpful for me to have something to think about like this, where I could come out to the Hermitage and reflect on some little piece of the architecture, something that gets me thinking about our world in a new way. So today I'd like to talk about labyrinths. If you go to Montview, you know we have a labyrinth at our church. A labyrinth, a real full-size one, can be 40 to 50 feet wide. It's like a walking prayer, usually a circle, and it's not a maze. You can't get lost in it. There's one way in and one way out, but it's a very circuitous route to that center. And they're very old, is the wonderful thing about them. They predate Christianity by a long ways, but Christianity absorbed the wisdom of the labyrinth. In fact, you'll find them on the floors of a lot of cathedrals in Europe, and a lot of the ones that we have now are based on those. In fact, I want to show you one. When I was starting to build this, I had a little pewter labyrinth, just a kind of a model of one. It had a little stylus that you could actually walk so to speak, walk the labyrinth. And I had it in my office, and people kept using it as a coaster for their drinks. And I thought, this isn't working. So when I was building this, I thought of a way to incorporate it. I decided to inlay it in the floor, in the center, a kind of symbolic labyrinth in this space. So I'd like to show it to you, and we'll think about what that means. So, all right, let's come on inside. When I built this, I built it on a 10-foot by 10-foot footprint. So from the outside, it's 10 by 10. The walls are about 8 inches thick. You can see this is from the outside, stone, and then there's rebar up the middle, and then another layer of stone to the inside. So it's square, and then the windows are square as well. So square is an important shape here, and then of course the stone is very linear too. There's a lot of straight lines in here, the rafters as well. And so I love that at the center of all of this on the floor is this circle, this labyrinth. Let's see if we can get a good shot of it. There we go. This is a labyrinth based on the one they found in the floor of the Chartres Cathedral in France. There's a lot of great stuff out there about labyrinths, so look them up if you're not familiar with them. Yeah, and this is the one that everyone was using as a coaster, and so it's getting much better use here as kind of really for me, the spiritual center of this space. There's a lot of symbolism with labyrinths, a lot of different things we could talk about, but one of the most significant for me is the curve itself as you're walking one. If you've ever walked one before, you can end up going the exact opposite direction you were just going, and it's so symbolic of our lives, I think, whether it's a job loss or a diagnosis or a death in the family or a pandemic, where you think you're going a certain direction and everything feels turned upside down. I think the labyrinth does such a beautiful job of symbolizing the way our lives are not straight lines, and the ways that our plans and our dreams can be so abruptly upended. And what it says to me, it says a few things, but one is that we all have lives like that all of our lives have these turns. No one's life is always straight from beginning to end. And so there's a sense in which others share in the same suffering and the same pain that my life has, and there's something comforting about that, as well as I think evokes compassion for them in me. So to remember that others' lives are hard and difficult, and things have happened to them that they did not hope for and expect, and they are dealing with those things just as I'm dealing with my set of curves in my life. And then I think what I love most about the labyrinth is that all of those curves, all of that upending and chaos, so to speak, that combination of order and chaos that's in those abrupt changes in the walking of the labyrinth, all of that is still held in the circle, right? And the outside, there's still a sense of symmetry, of beauty, and so I think what it's saying to us, if we can have the faith to hold it, is that our lives, as upended and disrupted as they can be, are still held in this circle that I think of as God and the holy, that which created all of this, created it this way, and created it to be such that in the midst of all of our chaos and disruption, there is still order and beauty in the larger picture that we can't always see, of course. And that's, I think, a lot of what faith is about. Can we have the faith, not that our lives are going to be in a straight line, and if we believe hard enough that bad things won't happen to us, we're going to have our share like everyone else. But can we have faith that that whole life, with all of its ups and downs and disruptions, is still being held by a larger sense of order and beauty? So that's what it gets me thinking about. I hope you'll explore it. If you haven't thought about labyrinths before, they're a wonderful spiritual tool for us. And yeah, I guess that's it for this week. See you in a week.